G'day, Aussie Gridiron fans. Welcome to the G'day Gridiron podcast. This isn't a normal intro. Massive things have gone down in the NFL world today. I was editing a podcast and we were at work, and of course, the Micah Parsons trade from the Cowboys went down. And Brad, it wouldn't be an NFC East episode if the Cowboys didn't ruin our entire episode, would it?
Yeah, absolutely. Not only did they ruin the entire episode, they ruined my entire day. Jerry's ruined my entire last 3 decades. So yeah, no, it's been a great day.
So this is a little bit of an intro. We'll just have a bit of a chat about the trade, and then we'll leave you with the podcast as we recorded it last night on Thursday evening, because we did that, and literally hours after that, this all went down. And of course, we did an amazing setup for Brad with some video and audio stuff from a Jerry interview, which was hilarious. Brad went on a rant. It's all great, but Brad, the drama train has finished. Micah Parsons officially traded to the Green Bay Packers this morning for 2 first-round picks, 2026, 2027, and they got Kenny Clark back to the Cowboys. Well, sorry, the Cowboys got Kenny Clark, Pro Bowler Kenny Clark, defensive end, from the Packers to the Cowboys. Let's take out, first of all, we know your thoughts on Jerry. We know your thoughts on the fact that that this Micah Parsons deal should have been done. We've known that for a while.
Yep.
Thoughts on the trade as it is, as a trade, team to team, franchise to franchise, player to player, that kind of thing.
Yeah. You know, as I've had a chance after getting over the initial shock and awe of it all, and having had a chance to try and step back a little bit from it and look at it objectively, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world in terms of what they got for him. 2 firsts and Clark. But the question still remains, okay, what are they going to do with those 2 firsts and a Clark? So if they actually do something with them and make a decision on which way they want to go in terms of, are they going to try and parlay that into being a contender now, or are they going to do a total reset? Then if they just make a decision one way or the other, I feel like it's fine. But if they just kind of continue on in this limbo mode where they just kind of limp along and be somewhat relevant, then I think it's going to be a complete waste. So you're looking at 2 back end first round picks, and how often do you see back end first round picks end up being like all pro studs? So not very often.
No, not very often. We're getting to the point where more and more players, more and more talented players, are getting to the back end of drafts or the first round of draft anyway, and that's just the overall player pool being greater, I think. Yeah. But you're right, Brad. The better players, they all go at the top, and the addition of Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers, I think, elevates them a couple of notches up the ladder towards sort of the big dance. Whether it gets them all the way there, but I mean, they already would have been. Let's be honest. NFC North being the NFC North the way it is, they would have been drafting in around the 20s anyway. So I think you're going to be looking somewhere around 25 to 30. Is there going to be those picks anyway for both years? I can't imagine it being any less than that.
Yeah, they're a young team. They're not going to just fall apart after this year.
No, young team, really well coached everywhere on the ball. He adds so much value to them. This deal, wow, I mean, it's everywhere today, and I think you've said it before, talking about this should have been done months ago. It really should have been done months ago. There was a tweet that I sent out to you today, a copy of a tweet from Ari Miroff on X, and yeah, essentially it was the fact that trading Micah Parsons in late August instead of March or April is just malpractice, organizational malpractice. And I couldn't have put that any better myself when we were talking about it, because we've talked about this for a few months, especially you, Brad, being a Cowboys fan. the fact that
Yeah.
Jerry is just not there. He's not getting this done the way he should have be getting things done. I'm dubious as to whether Stephen would do a better job or whether he's sort of still holding back, waiting for Jerry to just approve some things.
I yeah, I think Stephen, to be honest with you, I think Stephen would. I think Jerry's not. If you watch any of the Netflix documentary, and you know anything about Jerry, he built the his fortune. He built the Cowboys on taking risks. That's what he
Hmm.
did. And the Jerry of the last 20 years has not taken any risks. So I wonder, if he just was watching this back and just saying, I got to get that magic back, and so I'm going to do something, shake it up, and take some risks, and he did, but is it the right risk? I don't think it is.
They've been known over the last few years for overpaying for players as well, waiting too
Yeah,
long. Market moves in the wrong direction. They
yep,
end up overpaying for players. They overpaid for Dak. They overpaid for CD. They overpaid for Diggs. It's there's all these guys he could have had cheaper if he'd signed them earlier, and Micah is the same. If he'd
yeah,
signed him not just this year, last year when he reportedly started asking for an extension, he would have paid way less and he'd still be there right now. As it is, Micah Parsons obviously moves to the Packers for that trade. They then do a deal with him, 188
or,
million dollars,
yeah,
120 million dollars of which is fully guaranteed. That is
hmm
astonishing. It's a 4-year deal. That's the biggest non-quarterback deal in the history of the NFL. Those numbers are astonishing to anybody, especially Australian people like you or I, who probably earn somewhere between $80,000 to $100,000 as a household. These guys are getting
yeah,
$120 million guaranteed for playing
yeah,
football. Um,
yep,
but yeah, that is just an astonishing amount of money, and it all just got done. The Packers new new GM,
mm.
obviously want to really put his finger on the pulse and really sort of make some moves, not be as safe as the Packers have been before. The Packers have also been accused of being a little too safe over the
Mm.
past decade.
Yeah, 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 definitely. And this is one of those, swing for the fences type things. And apparently, the last time they were in play for a top free agent was Khalil Mack, and they came second, and that was Gutekunst, the GM, his first year. And this time, he says he didn't want to miss out, so he really did swing for the fences, and he got the deal done. So congrats to him in doing it. Just going back to what you're talking about earlier, and Jerry should have done this should have done and sealed the deal earlier in the process. The way this is all unfolded now, and I'm not alone in saying this, it makes me wonder, did Jerry genuinely want to get the deal done?
Hmm.
Because if he genuinely wanted to get the deal done, he could have. All he had to do was just, he knows who David Mongetta is. Other players on the team are represented by him. So when he came out at the owners meeting and said, I don't know that guy's name, that was just a slap in the face. And how do we know he was genuine in his offer? He says he offered Micah Parsons $40 million a year, but was it truly? Because he knows that deal has to get done through the agent.
Yeah.
You can't just do it through Micah Parsons. Jerry knows that. He's a brilliant businessman. So he knows that the agent is going to be involved. So for him now, in hindsight, it's always 2020. So looking back on it, I just go, did he really want to get this deal done? And I the more I think about it, and the more I'm saying, no, he didn't. He didn't want to do it because he could have gotten it done.
Hmm.
So,
I think most especially the minute that David Mulligata said to him, that's not the deal. We still have to hash out details.
yeah,
I think that's the point where he got his shackles up, his old man shackles up, and
yeah,
decided he wanted to be stubborn and not do it. And
yeah,
you know what? You're right. The relationship. I think when he came out at the owners' meeting and said that he didn't even know who David Mulligata was, I
mm,
think that would have soured that relationship as well. And that
Mm-hmm.
guy is a brilliant businessman as well.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
an absolutely brilliant agent. He clearly knows what he's doing because so
Yeah.
many of these highest paid players now are represented by him, these big landmark deals.
Mm-hmm.
And I can
Mm-hmm.
imagine, as most brilliant businessmen are, he would be stubborn as well and would have
Oh,
just
yeah.
gone, well, screw this guy. Like,
Yeah.
if that's the way you're going to treat me. And from that moment on, and then even today, Brad, just, I don't know whether it's disrespect or it's senility, to be honest. An 11-minute just rant he did at a press conference today, and 4 times he still called Parsons Michael in an 11-minute rant.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so he's
It's,
still calling him by the wrong name. And I get that he said, like in the interview we watched the other night we showed you, he called him Mike a couple of times. That's fine.
mm,
I get that there's probably a
yeah.
nickname there. But yeah, when
Yeah.
he starts calling him Michael, like there's some disrespect on someone's name.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's the best player on your team, and you're doing that, and so it makes me say that there was something else going on behind the scenes that Jerry, there has to be, and
Yeah.
hopefully it comes out later, but that Jerry was somehow peeved off with just the way he acted, and I don't know whether it be his podcast or whatever. But typically Jerry likes all that flash and that flamboyance, and
Yeah, because it all brings eyeballs back to the Cowboys.
exactly, exactly. But for some reason, I just got to think that there's more to this than what we know.
Yeah.
My son said to me this afternoon, he said, or just a little bit ago, he said, "Have you seen the press conference with Jerry?" And I said, "No." And he says, "Don't watch it. You'll get too pissed off." So I haven't watched it. So we'll see.
Well, Brad, you did tell me today that you might have to not root for the Cowboys for a period of time this year, just in sort of silent, I guess, protest um,
Yeah.
for this whole thing. So you never know. We might have to take some applications and some suggestions from some listeners to see who should Brad root for in 2025 while he's on his sabbatical from the Cowboys.
Yeah, yeah. I'm seriously
Brad's
considering it. I'm
Brad's gap
seriously.
year. That's what we're calling this now.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, I can guarantee you on that fourth week of the season, I'm going to be rooting for the damn Packers. So I just want to shove it in Jerry's face and say,
Yeah, well, you're
look,
not allowed to choose the Packers, right?
no, yeah, okay, fair enough, fair enough. Vikings fan. Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Yeah. We don't need more Packers fans. That's
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
happening.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Yeah. So it's just, it didn't have to be like this, and it really did bum me out. I'll be honest. It did. I was kind of, yeah, I was surprised at how much it did bum me out. And
Oh, mate, I think the
you
more
broke the
information,
story to
yeah,
me.
to you,
So,
yeah.
I mean, I'll let the listener in a little bit. So I get up in the morning and I was watching I always record NFL Live on ESPN and start watching it before I go to work. And I watch that, and on that show they're talking about Parsons, and Mina Kimes, one of the reporters, says if they traded Jerry Jones, this is going to go down as one of the worst sports, negotiations ever, worst decisions in professional sports. And even then, I'm still thinking, no, there's no way they're going to get it done. They're going to get it done. And then I'm going and I'm sitting on the crapper, and Ian sends me a text, and I'm like, what the no? And so, yeah. I was like, I seriously thought you were yanking my chain. I thought like this is one of these, Twitter stories. It wasn't legit, and then I was like, oh no, this is real, and
Yeah.
my heart
I,
sank.
I think at the start I was like, holy shit, that really happened. And then
Yeah,
I think I felt worse and worse for you. I wouldn't feel bad for any other Cowboys fan, to be honest.
thanks.
But I think worse and worse for you, the more info that came out during the day about the deal and all kinds of things.
Mm,
There was a tweet from Jane Slater who spoke with Michael Parsons. I did it too. Um,
fair enough.
who spoke with Micah Parsons. He says he's genuinely going to miss people in Dallas. Uh,
Mm,
he says he and his team went back to the Cowboys about an extension with empathy when the trade interest was leaked this week. So
yeah.
they got this whole deal information and what was going to possibly happen with the Packers, and they went back to the Cowboys and essentially, by the sounds of that, they still played the loyalty card and said, we'll take some off the top because of the
Mm-hmm.
loyalty. And I can see that. I actually, you know what, I've gained a lot of respect with for Parsons in this whole
Yeah.
situation because all the things that he's been saying, the interviews and things, you can tell he's just he's a loyal kid, you know.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just there's a lot of loyalty baked into his family. It's
Mm-hmm.
and that's
Mm-hmm.
all he wanted to do was play for the Cowboys, and they drafted him and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, but so then apparently the Cowboys' response was, according to Parsons, was play on the 5th year or leave. So that was wild. That's where I really felt for you. I was like, this is nuts. These people are
Yeah.
insane. If a guy who's worth $42 million a year comes to you and says, I will still sign for you, and it can be less than that number, and you say, no, you're playing on the deal you've got, or you see you later.
Mm.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
That's not money chasing. Like you've gone back and
No.
said, I'll take money off. So
Yep.
that's not
Yep.
that's not money chasing. Anyway,
No. Nah,
yeah, Brad,
it's
I think we
sad.
all feel for you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, yeah. It's I still can't believe it's real. So I know we end it, but I want the Cowboys to make a decision in terms of just totally rebuild or go all in, and this is not going all in. So
Well, they got 2 first-round picks next year, and you
yeah,
know what? The silliest idea wouldn't be to trade those couple of first-round picks and split them up into more picks for next year.
yeah, yeah,
Even trade that 2027 first-round pick and try and get picks in second, third, fourth rounds of the 2026 draft, and really
hmm
do that because for years all they've really done is try and overpaid for a few guys, had to bolster a team out of the draft, and then sort of all these second chance guys, these guys that haven't worked out at other places, and then they've brought them in to try and give them sort of a second go and see if they're any better. And guys that obviously were high on their draft board originally, went in during that draft. So
yeah,
it'd be nice to see them rebuild some way, Brad, and just stop saying that this is going to be the year you're going to go to the Super Bowl. Because I
yeah.
get you want to get one for Jerry before he goes, but this ain't the way. Anyway,
No, yeah, and I don't know like the how the fan base in general has reacted. All the Cowboys fans that I've spoken to today, it just kind of further solidifies their bitterness towards
Mm.
him, and just how they feel like he's completely lost touch. And it's almost to the point where people don't want to win it while he's there, simply because we don't want him to be proven right. So, and that's a bad place to be.
That is a
So,
bad place to be. That's a
yeah.
very bad place to be. All right, so that's a little bit on the trade. We're going to go back now. We'll start the episode as it was. I was already going to split this episode up because we did a mammoth session on AFC and NFC East last night. So I was already going to split this up. Typically, we've been starting with the AFC East and then going into NFC. So this is kind of going to be chopped up and backwards and around. You'll hear NFC East now, or our previews on NFC East, and we'll have AFC East for you probably Sunday arvo, I would say, or into Monday morning. So it just depends on when I schedule that to come out. But yeah, so right now we're going to head on over and start the episode about now. G'day Aussie Gridiron fans. Welcome to Beast Week on G'day Gridiron. We are looking through the last 2 divisions, AFC East, NFC East. That's all we've got to do in division previews. There's some great teams. Let's get to it. Hey boys, how are we going today? Isaac, Nick and Brad in the house. I'm going to throw... I don't know if I can really get Brad as well as I got Brad last week. So I might start off with someone else today. Isaac, how you doing, dude? Are you ready for the last couple of teams that we're going through?
I am ready to go, and you almost threw me with the "Hey boys."
I'm going to try and throw in as many boys or dem boys references as I can today. In light of this celebratory moment where we get to preview the Dallas Cowboys later and see whether we can have Brad implode. Nick, it might be real interesting viewing for people on YouTube.
Well, we did it. We did it last year, where I think the Cowboys section took 15 minutes.
Oh gosh.
Roughly. I think that is a guess, but I think that's what we got to last year. So I'll be interesting to see if A, we can beat that, but B, the emotional side of that take as well. But we'll find out. We will find out.
Well, somewhere around Friday or Saturday last week, you threw into our group chat. I think you threw up a link or some kind of news that happened with the Cowboys, and you said, "I want to call a timeout now on the Cowboys." So, yeah, I expect nothing less than a massive amount for the Cowboys today. So listen up for that. We do have an interview, another Jerry Jones interview to play for Brad, which he definitely has not heard. So we're not going to talk too much about that now. So that's going to be an amazing bit of theatre. So if you do want to watch that amazing bit of theatre, check us out on YouTube. Search for Aussie Gridiron Network. You will find that everywhere on YouTube, Aussie Gridiron Network, or search for G'day Gridiron. You'll find us there. You can always go to the Linktree, Linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. That will also get you to the same spot with all the links to everybody and all of our shows. So if you're listening on Spotify or Apple right now, be sure to go and check that out on YouTube too, because that is, possibly going to be an amazing bit of theatre. Brad, how are you going? Are you ready for East Week?
Release the beast, and I'm not just talking about unzipping my pants. It's sorry, it's
Small beast.
I was waiting for it.
It's more like a cockroach. Anyway,
Is it like a Marshawn Lynch sort of beast, or
Like a cockroach. I've seen Men in Black, mate. I see how big cockroaches can get.
Jeez. Moving along. You talk about how good I am. I'm good because my
because
wife.
I just made a second Will Smith reference.
Yeah, no.
keep my name, my wife's name
out of your mouth.
Sorry, Brad.
Sorry. No. My wife and I managed to convince my wife to watch Hard Knocks. And
nice.
And I said, just sit down and watch this one episode. And she got hooked. And so this was like episode 3, I think it was. And then we watched episode 4 because it just dropped the next day. And then today she's like, why don't you put on episode 1 of the Hard Knocks? And I was like, well, I've already seen it. She's like, that's all right. I'll watch it. I was like, what alternative universe am I in? And so it was really
Engaging
nice.
into the football life.
Has your wife ever had a favorite team, Brad?
Yes. She generally bases that favorite on either colors, or B, the first impression she gets out of the coach. She always looks at the coaches.
Oh, they're 2 solid metrics, I would say. There'd be a lot of Europeans and Australians that may have gravitated towards their teams because of the colours to start with. So I can't knock that too much.
Yeah. So being an Aussie, she initially went for the Packers.
That's a bad time.
Yeah. And then she really, like a long time ago, she really loved Mike Shanahan. So she was a big Denver fan when Mike was with Denver. And so she doesn't like the Sun nearly as much, thank goodness. So I don't have to put up with 49er crap.
Well,
it's because he's got all of his greys now. That's why. Not as
in optics though, Kyle is way better looking than his dad though. So yeah, the genes definitely came from his mum. Yes, 100%.
No, I think Dad would be. I don't know, but I can't believe we're having this debate
conversation
right now.
are we having here?
We're grown men.
Are we going to leave this in?
Men, we can compliment other grown men on their looks. Thank you.
I'm secure enough in my manhood to know.
That's right. Correct.
Yeah.
It's 2025, Nick.
I know what year we're in. That's why we're talking about Kyle Shanahan.
Are you sure? You probably prefer to have his dad.
100%.
His dad would 100% been a taskmaster, though. He's the
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
he would have demanded the sirs at the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you like some more to eat, son? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Righto, it is Beast Week. We do have the AFC East and the NFC East left to go through for our division previews. We've had 3 amazing weeks. Even South, I would say, was still a pretty good time. Even though it would traditionally be one of the or 2 of the worst divisions in football, but that was pretty fun talk. We've been through the North, we've been through the West. Now we're going to run right through the East as well. 8 teams, 2 divisions, 6 minutes each. That's the play guide that we're at. We will talk about some under-over win totals. And I generally just have a chat about teams, every team in these divisions. NFC East. Let's go first to last to first again. Because that'll still put Brad somewhere in the middle.
Where he likes to be.
Isaac, that obviously means you're up first with the New York Giants.
What can I say about
6 minutes on the clock, boys. Seriously. Seriously.
What can I say about those Giants? Are they going to be the Saints bad? No. But are they going to be good? No. One person I do feel bad for is Jackson Dart. So Dable and Shane drafted him to be the quarterback of the future, but I believe with the type of season they're going to have, they're not going to be there. So he's going to get a new regime next year, and it's all going to be up in the air for him. But anyway, back to the Giants. Let's just go through their schedule. All right. So this is their schedule: Washington, Dallas, Kansas City, Los Angeles Chargers, New Orleans Saints, Philly, Denver, Philly, San Fran, Chicago, Green Bay, Detroit, New England. So they could, and then the bye week. So they could potentially go into their bye week at 12-2 at their best. They could go 1-11 or 1-13. Sorry. So they are going to be up against it from the start. Neighbors will be fun to watch because he showed last season he doesn't need a good quarterback to be a phenomenal talent and a phenomenal player. But it's going to be a long, long season for those Giants fans. Have you got any thoughts around that, Brad?
Yeah, I'm buying the fact that defensive line is elite. I mean, they could be the best in the NFL. So I think it's just Dexter Lawrence is such a beast, and when you got him playing at the top of his game, I think he's a complete game changer. And so you throw in Brian Burns, and if Thibodeau and Golston, and you've got Abdul Carter, and Carter has been playing well, apparently, really well in the preseason. So Thibodeau has been a disappointment, but if you can have Thibodeau be your number 3 edge rusher, I say a disappointment considering where he was drafted. He was top 5 pick, I think. But if you can have him be like a rotation number 3 edge rusher, that is phenomenal. To have that kind of depth. So but they're going to need it. That defensive line is going to have to create so much havoc, so much pressure in order for them to be successful. That's their only chance. And frankly, I don't see it. And their defensive line, they're the smoking hot 10s that walk in the room. Their offensive line is the, put a bag on the face type. It's just, they're that bad is the offensive line. So, and they're running it back again. So we see teams doing this, and they're just, if Andrew Thomas, their left tackle, if he can stay healthy, then they've got a shot at doing something, but otherwise, no, there's just no chance. And so, maybe it is good that in one sense that Dart doesn't play behind that offensive line because he won't just get pumped. So, we'll see. You can let Russ cook, but it's going to be burnt no matter what.
I'm looking for shining lights on this team this season. That's basically what we're looking for. That schedule is horrid.
Yeah.
Horrid. And I've got them like at 1-16, essentially. So it's just a terrible setup for Dayball, considering he needs to win and he needs to prove that he can do something. Because he, like some of the others we've talked about tonight already, he's going to be out on his ass if that doesn't happen. So I'm looking for shining lights. I'm looking for Jackson Dart's going to get there in there at some point. Russell Wilson's not going to be that great. They're going to want to look at Jackson Dart at some point because the schedule's terrible and they're not going to be able to win games. So you may as well see what he's like in a game. I really hope we see some Jameis Winston. It seems like in some of the preseason, Jameis Winston's been rubbing off on Jackson Dart. You see him muck around, eating W's on the sideline. That was hilarious. Cam Scatterbo, again, another shining light. I really want to see how he plays. Because I think he can be a great running back, not least because I picked him up in a whole bunch of fantasy leads as a rookie. Darius Slayton, Malik Neighbors. I really want to see how Malik Neighbors goes as well. Second year in, that could be great as well. Brad, you left out somebody like on this. You named nearly the entire defensive line, but you left out guys. How about Bobby Okereke? I only want to say that because I can say his name. Nick. Any hope? You've got like a minute. I don't know why we spent this long on the Giants.
On the Giants.
Well, they are an interesting team. Like I suppose like their defensive line is so good. Like it's probably the best in the league, and it just that schedule is just so brutal. If they were like probably middle of the pack, they'd be such a better team, and I would say they'd be at least definitely at least double the wins that they had last year. But just because of the schedule is so tough, it's just so hard to have them higher up. I do think Dart's going to come in a lot earlier. Brian Dable is going to be on the hot seat earlier. He's going to want to put in that guy that they traded up to go and get. So expect to see him early. It's probably not going to be great, but it's probably going to be something that Dable does to see. Let's try and win a few games and try and get off the basement. So I think that's what it's going to be.
That schedule is properly unfair. It's basically it's just the way that shook out for them is just terrible.
I was looking through that today, doing the research for this, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That is hard. But that defensive line, Brad, that defensive line better be fit because they're going to be on the field a lot.
Considering fours are playing fours, like when you're playing out of division stuff, like you play another one and four plays, like one plays one and two plays two, etc. And fours are playing fours, and they still, it's just the divisions that they're coming up against are so good that their four is not the level of the New York Giants. And it's just like, wow.
Well, the NFL script writers are just licking their chops because all they're thinking is Arch Manning to the Giants. So
Arch Manning's going to about 3 different places right now.
This is true. Well, then the NFL doesn't care.
No.
He's going back to Texas.
The bookies, however, know where it's at. 5.5. They've got him at. Surely no one's got them over.
No.
No.
No. I don't think anyone in the world has them over 5.5. I've got them at 1 win. Like, seriously. It's just, I couldn't do any more than 1 win. And I think that might have been the Saints, or I might have given them a pity win somewhere in there, 17 or 18. When
it's got to be the Saints.
Yeah.
Fucking have to be.
I know, because I had the Saints getting some wins, and I think that might have been over the Giants.
Oh, jeez.
I think the win came in like week 17 or 18 when like Vegas or Dallas might be like resting a whole bunch of starters, and they're just going to be throwing caution to the wind. Jackson Dart's going to be throwing like just every ball will be 40-yard bombs. It's just throwing it all out there. All right, next up then, let's go with this is a coin flip now. Do I want to go with them boys early, or do we want to go? Brad, let's go.
That's for last or no?
No, Brad, let's go.
Okay.
All right.
We're going to do this. All
It's
right.
time to go to Texas. No, we're going to see if we can fit this into 6 minutes. Let's go, Brad.
Oh no, we're gonna use a timeout.
Well, set it up for us first, Brad. Let's talk about
Yeah.
it before we hit you with some Jerry.
This is true. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. So Cowboys, if the Cowboys were ice cream scoops, it'd be 2 scoops of drama, 3 scoops of delusion, and a couple sprinkles of just idiocy on top. So you got Brian Schottenheimer taking over as head coach, which I wish it was his dad. Marty was one of my favorite coaches of all time. I loved him. But anyway, so and Brian has done a great job. You can't ask anything more of the guy so far. He hasn't even coached a game. I've loved everything he's done. But he takes over as head coach. Is he going to be the one that kind of pushes the talented roster over the hump? You've got Dak Prescott. I don't care what Dak does in the regular season. I don't think anybody who follows the Cowboys cares what Dak does in the regular season. He's basically played like Carson Wentz in cosplay when it comes to the playoffs. So it doesn't work there. So he's got to show up. But that's assuming they could even have a sniff at the playoffs. And then you've got all the drama around Micah Parsons and his contract standoff. And where's that going to be? You got the most talented, dominant player, in my opinion, in a lot of people's opinion, in the NFL, holding out. Jerry, all he has to do is pay the dude, and no, he instead gets all butt hurt because his managers or agent says, stick it up my ass or your ass. Sorry, my ass. But
That's how every Cowboys fan thinks.
yeah. Hey, screw you. I love what they've done with George Pickens. I think the guy's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to really open up CeeDee Lamb. I think that defensive line, even let's say Parsons doesn't come back, I think that defensive line is still elite. I think it's a really, really, especially, let me rephrase that. Their edge rushers are elite. Their defensive tackles, no, not so much. You got as OD but beyond that, their first round pick, Mozzie Smith. Sorry, so it's just it's frustrating. I'm gonna stay zen, okay? I'm not gonna go all half cocked on them.
Not yet.
I mean, who doesn't love a good half cock? But
No, go full cock.
No.
Full cock.
No, I'm not doing that either. So
Overreacting.
Exactly. So I guess my question is, are the Cowboys, are they going to break through, or is this going to be another Star-Spangled Heartbreak? What do you guys think?
Well, great setup, Brad. Fantastic setup. Let's you mentioned the Michael Parsons debate in there.
Michael, yes, exactly.
So, how about we get onto this? So, Jerry was on the Michael Irvin podcast. Say it right, Ian. Michael Irvin. Good Lord. Yes,
I have not seen this.
I know you won't have. It's an hour-long interview. A lot of it, an hour, mate, and a lot of it is just pure dribble between the two of them.
Yeah, I believe
but,
that.
But there was a little bit of gold in there, so we'll play just a short snippet for you, Brad. And this is where he asks him about Micah and his contract.
I'll let it go at that. I'll drop this one thing on you because this is.
When we wanted to send the details to the agent told us to stick it up our ass.
Oh, wait. Now, see, I was
just so you're clear.
Wait. What do you mean? So wait. What do you mean? Because people going to ask.
Mike and I talked, and then we were going to send it over to the agent. And we had our agreements on term, amount, guarantees, everything. We were going to send it over to the agent. And the agent said, don't bother because we've got all that to negotiate. Well, I'd already negotiated. I'd already moved off my mark on several areas. And so the issue, very frankly, is we've had the negotiation in my mark. And the agent's trying to get his nose in it. right now and try to come in there and improve off the mark that we'd already set. It's the mama daddy deal. You go into mama and she won't do it. And she's the boss. So she won't do it. So you run into daddy. Daddy says do it. And then you go back in and say, mama, daddy said it was all right. So, oh, mama, daddy did. We've all been there and done that. Well, we got this theory resolved in my mind for the Dallas Cowboys. And we got it done. And if the agent wants to finish up the detail, which is should, and do all the paperwork, and he can do that. And we're ready to go. But as far as the amount of money, the years, the guarantees, all of that, we negotiate that.
Oh, this right here is why the Cowboys are stuck in mediocrity. Oh, Ian, why'd you have to show me that? My blood
I
pressure.
knew Brad would
through the roof.
absolutely implode at this.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just a quick shout out to Michael Irvin, who made millions during his career. He's got about as good audio and visual as I do. Fuck. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, fair point. Fair
Absolutely
point.
terrible. Hey, look, in all seriousness, let's just talk a little bit. Let's go a little bit on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
In my feeling, their schedule is really mixed. They've got some tough teams and some easy teams first up. Straight up with Philly, week one. That's going to be tough at Philly week one, and then they go New York, Chicago, Green Bay in Green Bay early, which is good for them. And then you've got a few other sort of lesser teams hit Philly up after the bye week again. You've also got Kansas City straight after that Philly game. So you've got 2 back-to-back home games against the Eagles and then the Chiefs. Then you've got to head to the NFC North. So the back end of the season gets a little bit spicy. I don't know how they're going to handle that, especially if they're not winning and things aren't going well. Yeah, they really need to. I feel like if Micah hasn't done a deal, if they hadn't done the actual deal with Micah by week one, and he doesn't play week one against the Eagles, they're going to get shown out big time. And I reckon Micah Parsons is in that lineup by week 2 against the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. It took them. People may or may not remember. I'm old, so I do. Emmitt Smith. He held out, and
I think it was only it was 1 or 2 weeks with Emmitt Smith though.
3. He held out 3 weeks, and they were 0-3, or I think 0-3.
And where did they go after
you may
that?
be right. And maybe it was 0-2.
It was 0-2. And where'd they go after that, Brad? Where did they end up?
Super Bowl. Thank you very much.
Yep.
So this is not that Super Bowl team, but Jerry's not afraid to let it go that far. The thing that scares me is that Micah, I think, is a much more volatile dude. And he's the type, I think, that he's kind of stubborn. And that's in my opinion. Obviously, I don't know the guy, but I think he would hold out and he'd say, like, no, screw you. You screwed me over. You treated me like crap. So no, I'm not gonna. And he'll dig it in. Yeah, I worry, man. I really do. So I think Jerry, it's just he's realized it's not 1995, 96 anymore. Okay, it's 2025, and you can't be treating players like this. They're like whether we like it or not, they're too sensitive anymore. And Jerry just comes across as an old, rich, crusty, entitled guy, and it's not helpful.
Nick, Isaac, anything on the actual Cowboys for this season? How are they going to fare?
I'll go first.
Go first.
For some unknown reason, this has no credentials behind it or anything, no stats or anything. I just have a feeling about the Cowboys this year.
Yeah.
So I think they're just going to click. The offense is going to be really good. Parsons will be there week 1. I reckon they'll get it done by then, and he'll be there week 1. I'll foreshadow this. I've got them winning the division.
Brad's favorite boy, Nick. Something quick, Nick.
Went, what? Can we go back to that?
We're going to come back there shortly. So
I am okay. All right. I am the complete opposite to Isaac, and I will tell you that through the last few weeks, because there's been so much noise, so much drama, that never comes from anything good. Take it from me. You know, we had that last year in San Francisco. I was this close, I kid you not, to potentially flipping the Giants with the Cowboys. That's how close I was, because
Nick's
even
got
though-
right down the bottom.
even though offensively, yeah, they got George Pickens, wild, cool. Will they be able to run the ball? That's the biggest thing. Now, they've retooled the offensive line. I like the guy that they've drafted. I think he's going to be an absolute stud. Booker, really good. They get Guyton back. Hopefully he's better. Is the O-line going to be better overall? Very concerning. Obviously, CD Lamb's there. We know how good he is. But like this defense, without Parsons, this is like a bottom 4, bottom 3 defense in the league without Parsons. And you add Parsons in there, they're a bit better. It's a bit like I don't know. I feel like it's a very slightly better version of the Cincinnati Bengals, like how it's set up. Solid offensively with the weapons, but defensively it's not that good. I cannot see it, and I'm curious to see where sort of Isaac comes from. But I mean, last year was a lot more higher up on the Cowboys, but this year there's just so much noise. And I think there was actually a really good quote that I heard. I can't remember what show I was watching. I think I can't remember now, but it was one of the players that used to play for the Packers, and it was just something in regards to, you know, you have a situation like Micah Parsons has had, and then they've gone through the trenches with CeeDee Lamb, they've gone through the trenches with Dak Prescott. Now those deals got done, and this one there's a bit of venom behind it and everything, but I feel like one of this deal, I think eventually is going to get done. Like, I don't think he's going to get traded. I think it's all a bit of fluff, and Jerry's stealing the headlines like we know he does. But I think something like this, it just sends a message to the rest of the players. It's like, well, you know, are we actually trying to win? He comes out, he's on a Netflix show, he says, you know, I want to be a soap opera. You know, I want to make sure we've got the headlines. You know, that to me, even as a young guy coming in, like, that's not a good thing. To me, that's the sort of vibe I get, and it's sort of hard for guys to be motivated and to come out and be like, you know, you wear the star on the helmet and, you know, take pride in that. Because when you hear, I don't know, Brad, I'm assuming you're probably in the same boat we're hearing. Like, when you hear stuff like that, even as a fan, it's frustrating. Like, imagine a guy coming in, you know, he's and recruiting players, like, with stuff like that. It doesn't bring that same sort of sense of pride, I would feel.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, I don't want to go too long on them. I do think their defense is a little bit better than what you're saying, but that secondary is, I have big concerns about their secondary, especially because you're not going to see Trayvon Diggs back for a little while. So, I can see either side of this. As somebody who follows the Cowboys pretty closely, like probably too closely, I can see how people can say no, they're going to suck, and how they say no, if it all clicks, you could see some amazing things. So we won't know for a couple weeks, in my opinion, till we kind of get that second cycle of games and see how teams adjust and then how they adjust. So it's a toss up for me.
Yep. All right.
Also, I just want to add, finally, one thing is that the Cowboys gave up more points than the Bengals last year. I'll just leave you with that.
There you go.
7.5 is the line. Real quickly, I've got them going over. Isaac,
Over.
Brad,
Over.
and Nick's got them going under. Clearly,
Under.
Aussie.
It might be pretty obvious, but I am not Matty C.
NFL.
Absolutely stoked to have it on the podcast, mate. Welcome.
Fantasy.
Tay, I think it's time you disabused your mate here.
Would you rather be fighting zombies or aliens?
Find hidden gems.
And with that, we're into some breakouts.
I'm glad you're stalling because my results last week were a hot piece of ass.
We all had our struggles, mate.
We've unzipped the Penix and it's time to put the Penix in the pit. Let's do it.
I'm taking Trey McBride.
I'm just leaning on the old tuck shop, tuck graft.
And all of a sudden, he's just lighting them up.
catch starts of the week.
I'm just going to go ahead and take Goff at Chicago.
So I'm going to go running back. I'm going to take Travis Etienne.
I'm going to go ahead and take your boy Ty Tracy.
I'm going to take Adam Thielen.
So I'm going to go and take Richo against Tennessee.
I'll take Matt Stafford.
Just a little float out the Dalton Kincaid.
I'm actually going to take Caleb against the Lions.
Friday and Sunday all season long. The Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
Thanks to the Aussie Gridiron Network.
Good to give me the dance floor. I'll probably fucking snap the floorboards.
All right. I'll put a counter on, but we need to move. So let's try and get it done. The Commanders, for the first time in recent memory, the Washington Commanders enjoyed a calm, normal, tumultuous-free off-season. No seismic changes at owner, head coach, general manager, quarterback, or even the team name. Last year's 12-5 juggernaut run to the NFC Championship game in Jaden Daniels' rookie season gave the franchise a renewed sense of direction and purpose. Something that basically to build a sustainable championship contender around with its young, dynamic quarterback. They've brought in a few players now, and they've got sort of bolstered the O-line. So he's now got a new left tackle, 5-time Pro Bowler Laramie Tunsil via trade. He got a new playmaker wideout in Deebo Samuels via a trade. And there still, though, are some concerns, and most notably around the lack of proven edge rushers on the defense. But this is a roster that should ultimately still contend with the likes of Philadelphia for that NFC crown. Obviously, year one in Daniels' era was good. Hopefully, he can continue that in year two and not go the way of star quarterbacks that we've seen or star rookies that we've seen lately. And I'm talking about some in the way of the Texans, who obviously went downhill second season. So apart from that, though, trade with San Francisco for Deebo Samuels was a great one. That only cost Commanders a 2025 fifth-round pick, amazingly. Gives Daniels a pretty savvy, prolific playmaker. They've just re-signed Scary Terry. He's going to have a renewed sense of purpose now with a decently long deal under his belt. Did sort of mean that they had to get rid of a little bit of depth that they'd bolstered up on offensively in terms of KJ Osborne and a couple other guys that were sort of there. But I would expect that they're still going to be pretty good. I'm loving Zach Ertz this season. I think he's actually going to be quite good this season. I think he was really solid last season. I think he'll build off that again this season. Defensively wise, though, like I said, I like their defense. I think it's okay, but I feel like the lack of edge rush talent really hurts them. Brad, I know you love defensive schemes. I know you love looking at them as a former sort of offensive / quarterbacks coach. You just live for that stuff. How do you feel about the Washington defense? Do you think that they're going to be able to hold up to the challenge against even just their division rivals in the Eagles and the Cowboys?
Yes, except it does concern me. Yes, from the standpoint of Dan Quinn's going to have them prepared. Dan Quinn's going to have them motivated, and they're going to bring it. But they're relying on Bobby Wagner to play significant time. And Bobby Wagner is as old as my grandma. And the dude, he may be smart, one of the smartest football IQ guys, but he can't cover anymore. Yeah, he can come downhill and do the run, but he can't cover. And without him, it's just, I have some worries about that linebacking core. So it's And I feel like everything just broke right for them last year. And I don't think that's going to happen this year. So that's where I'm at with Washington.
All right, I'll go.
Isaac?
Yep. So I'm very low on the Commanders this year. So last year the Commanders had 12 games that were decided by at least one score and went 8-4. So if that happens again this year, they lose a Hail Mary game to that was Chicago.
Yeah.
And they had a OT game against the Falcons as well. So they lose those two last year, they don't make the playoffs. The hype around Jaden Daniels and the Commanders is gone. So I'm not overly high on them. I think they will have the Houston Texans type season where Stroud, for Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud wasn't as good as what he was in his rookie season, just because NFL coaches are so smart and they'll scheme up something to try and get him out of his comfort zone. Nick, are you feeling that same way?
I'm pretty similar to yourself there, Isaac. I think offensively, though, they're going to be still quite good. Again, team with a bit of noise with Scary Terry through the off season, so he might start a bit slow. So we'll see what they make of that. But I think Jane Daniels is going to be pretty similar. We make the comparisons with CJ Stroud. They still took a step back, but ultimately they still made a divisional game. So in saying that, do I see the Commanders making the NFC title game? I don't think I see that happening again, at least this season. The concern is defensively. They gave up quite a bit of points. Obviously in the postseason, they got smacked around badly in that NFC title game. So, those sort of games where you really get shown up, you're riding a big wave and you get shown up like that, it can really be sort of something that sets you back. So that's my biggest concern for the Commanders. I'm a bit like you, Isaac. In the same boat that I'm not as high. I don't think that trajectory quite goes as much as people would hope it to be, considering how well they went last year. But I think they pull back just a little bit. Not a lot, but just a touch.
Under over is at 9.5 for the Washington Commanders. I've got them over, just over. I've got them with a 10-win season. Brad, how you got the Commanders?
Just over, same as you, 10 wins.
Nick?
Just under.
What? Okay. Isaac?
Under.
Just?
No, probably by 1 or 2 games there.
Okay. Righto.
Yeah.
9.5 seems pretty solid for a line then. So that's pretty good. All right. Nick, bring us home. The Philadelphia Eagles.
So let's paint a picture. So I invite people, obviously if you're not driving, because when I listen to the show, I'm driving. If you could close your eyes, I'm going to paint a picture for you. So 18 months ago, this was a team. They won their first 11 games. They then lost their next 6 out of their last 7, including a playoff game where they got smacked around by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They then went into the offseason. The quarterback and the head coach, they're not getting along, not seeing eye to eye, not getting along with plays. So the season comes, bit of a rocky start. They start about 1-1. Then, the head coach shaves his head, starts having to go with the crowd after a big, big win over the New Orleans Saints, where they won by 3 points. Fast forward, they've lost 1 game since that time, which was against the Commanders, in which Jalen Hurts played 1 quarter because he was subbed out due to concussion. They went on to beat the Rams in LA and also the second NFC team to beat Baltimore. If you open your eyes, we're talking about the Super Bowl champions. After all of that, how much changed in 18 months? And the funniest part about all of it was, on paper, they were such a talented team through the last few years. And as we know with Philadelphia teams, it's the same with the Sixers, it's obviously the same with the Eagles. The pressure starts to mount very quickly. And, considering they had so much turmoil, they're coming into this year with their 4th different coordinator. So Nick Sirianni's had a different offensive coordinator, every year that he's been with the Eagles. So with this, they change offensively. That's really the only change that they've had offensively. They've still got Saquon, still got a great offensive line, arguably the best in the league. Still got 2 A-grade receivers. Obviously, Jalen Hurts still there. Defensively, they lose a lot of pieces. They lose Sweat. They lose Milton Williams. Brandon Graham obviously retired. On the back end, they lost Slay and obviously Gardner Johnson. They did, however, as we know with Howie Roseman, very good in the draft. Paired Alabama linebacker Jihad Campbell with Zach Bond. Absolute steal in the first round. I still can't believe they got him. So with all of this, one thing I will bring up as well, there are only 2 teams in the history of this league that have made the Super Bowl with a bottom 5 pass offense. The Eagles were one team from last year. The other was the 82 Dolphins. They are the only 2 teams. The Eagles run the ball so well, but as we know, it's a passing league nowadays. It's a shame that way. It is a passing league nowadays. Are they able to get back to where they were with that dominance towards, most of last season and not being passing the ball as much? What do we think, Isaac?
Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there. My main concern was the people they lost on defense. Their offense is going to stay the same. Will there be a Super Bowl hangover? We'll find out in week 1. But yeah, mainly how is their defense going to go with all the experience that they lost? Yes, they had the 2 good corners there in the Super Bowl, the rookies. The white, what do they call them? The white, the
I
can't
what
remember
are
what
you
they
trying
call
to
you.
say? What are you trying to call it here?
T-minus.
The 2 white cornerbacks that they had in the Super Bowl.
Cooper DeJean and
Yeah.
then
DeJean.
And they nicknamed them white something, white chocolate probably, but they've replaced them with that. But will they miss the experience of those veterans that left? Yeah, so I'd be interested to get your thoughts, Brad.
Yeah, I think in terms of their offense, my concern is are they going to be able to stay healthy at that running back position? And you can't have a player get as many touches as Saquon did and not have there be a little bit of a hangover. We've seen it time and time and time and time again. I mean, the last player that had that many touches and still came back the next season and did well was probably Adrian Peterson. Really, it's been that long. So
To go.
I think then what are they going to do? I think they're going to rely on Hurts to throw the ball more. So it's real. I think you're going to see Hurts's numbers bounce back. I think you're going to see a little bit of a dip in their overall offensive production. You're right. They still got 2 elite receivers. I think that defense is just not right that they can go out and just reload how they do. I think getting Jihad Campbell is just is sick. It's unreal. As the rookie linebacker out of Alabama. So you pair him with Zach Bond, and it's just it's obscene what they've got going for them. So I think they've got as good a shot as anybody, though, in the totality of things, of still doing amazing stuff. So I'm still high on them.
5, 4, 3.
I think
2, 1.
their schedule sets them up for a great season, to be honest. The front end of it, they've got a bang on week 9 right in the middle of the season bye. Front end of their season before the bye, they get some lesser teams, and I want to use that in air quotes and sort of invert it, really not try and drive that up too much, but they get to start off early, which means they get to blood some of their young guys and get some things set. The back end of their season does get a little hard. They've got a Buffalo game sandwiched right between 2 Washington games, week 16, 17, 18. So that sort of brings them in, I think, on a high into playoff football. And I like the Eagles a lot this season. It would be remiss of me to leave any talk about the Philadelphia Eagles without reminding everybody of things that I always do remind them about with Eagles fans, Nick, you painted a picture earlier at the top end. I'd like to paint a picture.
Oh, please let it. I don't want to see somebody eating horse poop.
The time is December 15, 1968, week 14 of the NFL season. The game at Franklin Field, Philadelphia Eagles versus the Minnesota Vikings. How's that for juxtaposition? I always know exactly about this game. The game itself is referred to as the Santa Claus game.
Yes.
The final week of the NFL season, the struggling Eagles sitting at 2-10 on the season, tied 7-7 at halftime with the Minnesota Vikings. The team brought out Santa Claus as part of the halftime parade, but the Eagles fans, upset by the poor season that had occurred, the absolute piss poor season that had occurred, pelted poor Santa Claus with snowballs.
The ones you throw, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
No telling what was in some of those snowballs. I can guarantee some would have been yellow,
There is
and
alcohol.
there is definitely was talk of batteries as well. The affair's gone down in NFL and sports law as a representation of the passion and sometimes completely outrageous behavior of Philadelphia sports fans. So let's just let that sit a moment and take in the fact that they are 11.5 as an under-over. I have got the Philadelphia Eagles going over 15-2 for the season.
Oh,
pretty good.
Jeez.
Nick?
You have them high.
I do, and I hate to say it, Brad. I hated every moment of picking those games.
There are a few
Nick,
teams that are winning a lot of games. I really want to know what's like.
no, it's not.
I really
It's
want
really
to know
not.
what you.
I picked every game. There's no way that I can screw
did the
this up
same.
this time, okay? My maths cannot get screwed up this time because I used a predictor. Nick, what have you got them? 11.5 under over.
I've got them over. They're not going 15-2, but they are going over.
Isaac.
Yeah, I've got them going over. And just for you guys playing at home, the nickname for the white cornerbacks were the Exciting Whites.
That's
the
it.
worst nickname ever.
We're going to call them white chocolate, though.
That is horrible.
That's our nickname.
That is terrible.
Oh, my
Brad,
gosh.
under over 11.5?
Over just.
Wonderful. Righto. Division predictions for the NFC East. I can pretty much tell you that Nick and I have got the same. Eagles 1, Commanders 2, Cowboys 3, Giants 4. Isaac is different and Brad is different. Isaac, what do you got?
Okay, so I have the Cowboys 1, Philadelphia Eagles 2, Washington Commanders 3, and missing the playoffs, and the Giants at 4.
Brad?
Yeah, I decided to take a little bit different tact. I was kind of harsh on them in my preview, but I actually think we're going to see a little bit of a bounce back. So I'm going actually Commanders 1, Eagles 2, Cowboys 3, Giants 4.
Okay. Boys, every division done and dusted. Fully done. Fully whistle time out properly. That's all 32 teams we've talked about in the last 4 weeks.
Wow.
I've got a quick question. We are a long way into this pod, so we just do it real quickly. Looking at everybody's conference predictions, I want from you guys a team that sits right on the cusp of your playoff spots, so right on that 7-8, who you sort of expect to be there that could be good. And then the 2 teams for your Super Bowl prediction.
Oh, geez.
Ooh.
Okay. So I'll tell you right now. So I've got in the AFC for me, the Chargers and the Steelers are right at that 7-8 spot for me in the AFC. So I've got them right around there. I expect both to be sort of there or thereabouts, and reasonably good. And NFC's no real surprise. Actually, it's a little bit of surprise. I've got the Panthers at 8, which is was a bit of a surprise that washed out. But yeah, the Panthers sitting at 8, so they might just miss out on the playoffs. Maybe do a bit better. We know how Isaac feels about that.
Super Bowl.
Isaac, what your sort of wild
Yes.
card?
So for the AFC, I've got the Chargers at 8 and the Jets at 9. So I think the Jets are going to have a good season. Mind you, I've got the Jaguars at 7. So but all three of those teams could flip around there. And for the NFC, I've got the Vikings at 8 and the Bucks at 9. I've got the 49ers squeaking in at 7. So again, they could all change around. My Super Bowl prediction will be the Lions versus, I'd say, the Ravens.
Ooh. Okay. Lions, Ravens. That's a good one. Brad.
Yep. All right. So we're saying who's going to sneak in that wild card spot? Okay.
Who have you got around that wild card spot?
Yeah, right. So in the NFC, I think it's going to be actually, I think you're going to see Green Bay sneak in and nip the Lions. I don't even have the Lions making the playoffs. Can you believe that? And then I think you're going to see it come down to that final spot in the AFC: Cincy, Denver, Steelers. So I'm gonna say Denver's going to sneak in there. And I think Super Bowl wise, I'm actually going Ravens and Rams. So yeah,
nice. Nick.
All right. So the AFC for me was a coin flip between the Broncos and Bengals. So I've got the Broncos sliding into that 7 spot, just falling ahead. In the NFC, I've got Arizona, who I mentioned in the previous week when we did the West, being bullish on them. So I've got them sliding into the 7 spot, just getting ahead of, actually, I think I had Washington and Atlanta on pretty similar records from memory. In the 8 and 9 spots. For this Super Bowl prediction, I have got finally that AFC team getting over the hump in the Baltimore Ravens, who will actually be beating, in my opinion, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh,
I didn't ask for the predictions part. But that's okay. You notice that I didn't give my Super Bowl?
Well, who is it?
Ravens in. Oh, it's the highest on the Ravens I could ever be on a team, I think. It's as low as I am on the Saints. It's as high as I am on the Ravens.
Beautiful.
Vikings. Let's go.
Yes.
Oh, jeez. JJ McCarthy leading those Vikings to the Super Bowl.
Let's go.
I love it. Oh,
Did you notice we all had the Ravens, though, coming out?
All purple. All purple
Chiefs.
Super Bowl. I'm going purple Super Bowl. Let's go.
Oh, did you say Chiefs? I thought you said Ravens.
No,
No,
one
I'm
had
not saying
Chiefs.
no one had the Chiefs.
No. Yeah.
No.
That's so strange.
They'll have a wedding on that day.
Yeah.
No one have the Chiefs, but Taylor Swift
And
will
that
still
will
be
be
playing.
the halftime show.
Yeah, it just means Travis will be on stage with her instead.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're right. Exactly.
All right. Excellent. Thank you for joining us for this Super Bowl. Oh, sorry, for these division previews. I've got Super Bowl in the brain now that I said Vikings. Thank you for joining us over these last few weeks for these division previews. They have been long episodes. We promise that the following episodes, as we get into season, won't be anywhere near these mammoth episodes that you've been listening to. So we hope you've enjoyed these division previews. We kind of enjoy doing this around the compass trek that we do over the month of August. Please join us next week for a look ahead in best bets. So we're going to be doing some futures for best bets, basically some future picks, maybe even just having a shot at who we think might be up there for some of the end of season awards too. We're talking about that early week, and then late week you will hear the first of the previews for NFL games this season. So week 1 previews coming right at your ear holes. somewhere around next Saturday. So look out for both those episodes next week. Of course, the Aussie NFL Fantasy Boys will still be punching out 2 episodes a week, Friday, Sunday, as per usual. Amazing stuff from those boys. It is draft season, so get all your draft stuff in. Listen to those guys. Get your hints and tips and who to pick up in drafts if you haven't done all that sort of stuff. Check out Manjot, Pastry Press NFL on Instagram. Check everybody out on YouTube, and you can find all the links, linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. Thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you next week. See ya.